I would like to welcome you all to our webinar series. Today we are going to talk about why VoIP. So this will be a webinar which is more an informal webinar. It doesn't go that much deep into the products itself, but we would like to bring your attention to voice over IP and why voice over IP would be more and more interesting also for you. So we quickly start with the agenda. Agenda today would be what phone systems do we had yesterday and how do phone systems look today. Then I would give you a brief overview of what is voice over IP in general. I would explain you the voice over IP requirements so that you can successfully use voice over IP in your business. And I would like to show you how you can manage voice over IP with Kerio Operator and what opportunities Kerio Operator can offer to you to help you dealing with VoIP. We have a chat window open. My fellow colleague Anton Tikhonov from our Russian office is joining me in the background. So when you have any questions during the webinar, you can just type into the chat window and he would be happy to answer your questions. So let's start. So phone systems yesterday and today. You all remember the old legacy phone systems, or also called analog phone systems. Some of you may remember the times when you had some big boxes with lots of cable insides and lots of switches, lots of dedicated cables are needed to use your phone system. And of course, if there are some changes necessary in the phone system, you always had to call the phone or cable guy because you were not able to change anything at these boxes on your own. And in principle, and this is the most interesting part, it's still the same technique since the invention of Graham Bell. So nothing has much changed in analog systems, and it's not that long time ago. Then we had some better system, and it was ISDN. So I will do this webinar tonight again for our US customers. Our US customers, I've heard, have jumped directly from analog to the digital voice over IP. They had not that much ISDN, but as I can see, we have also some attendees from France and also from Germany. ISDN was pretty common here in the European area. And what was the benefit of ISDN? With ISDN, you already had some digital transmission of your voice, but still you had a big box, lots of cables, cards, switches. You again needed dedicated cables. If you want to expand this box, it was pretty uncomfortable and very complicated. And again, you paid a lot of money for the phone or cable guy who was maintaining your PBX. Then in the late 90s, mid 90s, we started with voice over IP, but this is, I would say, legacy voice over IP. You all maybe have faced the problems with choppy calls, you had echoes, interruptions, when the internet line breaks down, also your phone line breaks down. Everything was pretty appropriate. So there were no standards in voice over IP, and as those were the early days, you need to be pretty smart in command line. So when you had an asterisk box of those days, normally you crawled through the console to make any changes. So it was again not that easy. So, but there was already some progression, as you can see. We came from analog, we went to ISDN, And then we had VoIP of the early days, but VoIP evolved. So what is VoIP in general? VoIP is everywhere. So people, I'm pretty sure lots of you are already using WhatsApp, FaceTime, Skype, etc. This all is voice over IP. Those techniques and those codecs used in those programs, you will find them also in voice over IP. Basically, you can say this is also voice over IP. So whenever you thought I have never used VoIP in any case, it's fairly not true because you have definitely used at least Skype. So, but what is the advantage of voice over IP? So you can use an internet line for making phone calls. You can basically make calls from anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. You can administer nowadays those voice over IP systems like a mail server. It's mail server like simplicity. You have pretty high definition voice quality. So those times when a call sounded like you were talking through a tin box are definitely gone. So you have today basically the quality of ICN or better. And the most important thing, you are pretty flexible with a voice over IP system and it's pretty portable. So what is voice over IP today? Systems have tremendously improved. The internet lines you had in the past were where DSL started and the first affordable internet lines could be bought. They were pretty slow. Today, I think everybody has a pretty fast internet and internet line. Then workforce mobility, which means you have nowadays you have lots of remote workers. For example, like me, I'm pretty often working from my home office, but I'm remotely connected to our phone system at Kerio. You have business functionalities. Let's say during the times of ICN, if you would like to have some conference call or call forwarding, you had to pay it extra, or it was pretty complicated to configure, for example, a conference. You need to ask your phone provider, please, can you create me some conference room? Nowadays, with voice over IP systems, this is pretty simple. And the most important thing is you have a worldwide adoption of the VoIP protocol ZIP. So nowadays, not everybody is brewing his own beer or cooking his own soup. They all have adopted to standards. So this gives you also the freedom of choice what kind of zip provider you would like to choose. There are a lot of zip providers. You have Zipgate, you have EasyBell, you have whatever. Maybe you have in your country some local zip provider you can choose. So again, it gives you nowadays the freedom of choice. This is a thing which is maybe not readable for all of you, but I just would like to give you this information, why you should definitely pay attention on voice over IP. This is a headline in an internet blog that the German Telekom is sending out contract notice, so they are quitting contracts with people because they want to push them to voice over IP. They have some products which is called All IP, for example. So you get a letter from the German Telekom that they want to quit the contract of your analog or ICN system and would like to push you and port you to the voice over IP system of them. If you do not want to use their VoIP, they just quit the contract. So this is definitely something which could also happen in other countries. The German Telekom, for example, is pushing approximately 60,000 old phone connections per month to voice over IP. So what are voice over IP requirements so that you can use voice over IP in your own company or at your customer's company? So basically we start with the fundamentals. You should have a reliable internet connection. Again, voice over IP is using your normal internet connection to establish calls. You can expand it to other connections too. This I will show you later on. Basically, you can say the faster the internet connection is, the better is the voice quality. And of course, you should better take care that you have a fixed IP so you can guarantee external accessibility. Again, I already brought the example of a remote worker who is connected to your phone system. So you can try to build this with dynamic DNS, but we recommend that you should have a fixed IP so your phone system can easily be reached from everywhere from your users. Then we go over to the network. So the network, and this is, I think, again, pretty common nowadays. The majority of existing networks have at least 100 Mbit fast Ethernet network. The last fast Ethernet network I saw is already some years ago. I think most of them today have already gigabit networks. And you should definitely also have at least a switch. But I think the days when you have a customer who has only some, I don't know, 8-port 10100 hub, those days are over. Best results can be achieved, of course, with a manageable switch with power over Ethernet. So most of the desktop phones you can use for voice over IP can get their power via Ethernet with a power over Ethernet, so there is no additional power supply necessary. You just need a network cable, you plug it into your network outlet and the phone starts. And QoS, quality of service, would be also guarantee best results. All this, by the way, can be managed, for example, with a carrier control, where you have QoS inside, where you can define rules that zip will be always preferred in the network traffic. But this is only a side note. We are talking today about VoIP and not about carrier control. And of course, you need a phone or at least some sort of voice over IP client. You can choose between a normal, ordinary hardware phone. For example, we are supporting a great variety of manufacturers like Snom, Cisco, Yearlink, Polycom, etc. Basically, you can say we are supporting any voice over IP phone. If you would like to auto provision a phone, which basically means you create and configure everything in a carrier operator, you just hand over the phone to your customer or to your user, he plugs it in and it gets configured automatically. This is auto provisioning. Please have a look at our homepage in the section of carrier operator. There you can see which phones we are supporting for auto provisioning, but basically I can tell you that you can use any voice over IP hardware phone. If you do not want to have a phone on your desk, you can also use some software client. I have here the example of Xlite, which is free of charge. I know several colleagues in our company who have no desktop phone at all. They use their laptops for establishing phone calls. and this of course gives you great mobility. Last thing is that you can also have mobile voice over IP client on your iOS device, Android or Windows phone. This also gives you the ability to make phone calls, which is, for example, interesting when you are, let's say I'm visiting the US. I can use any internet line, any Wi-Fi to connect to our phone system, and I can establish a call and it looks like I'm sitting in my home office or I'm sitting in my company. So how can Carrier Operator help you managing voice over IP? So first of all, I would just encourage you to take control, take self-control of the whole phone things. So you are no longer reliant, you are independent from any phone guy. And as you know, our software, we always do it simple, stable and secure. Here's a brief overview. By the way, this presentation can be downloaded from our partner portal. My colleague Anna will send out a follow-up where you can also see a recording of this webinar and where you were also able to download this presentation. So a brief overview of Carrier Operator. It has phone and voicemail capabilities. It has uncompromised security. You are pretty flexible in deployment, whether you are buying a hardware box from us or if you are configuring your own hardware and use our ISO file to configure it to a Carrier Operator. Or you can even virtualize this Carrier Operator. We have a reseller in Hamburg who's offering virtualized Carrier Operator to his customers. So he's always making a package of Connect, Control and Operator, and all is virtualized in their virtualized environment. When it comes to administration and installation of Carrier Operator, I already told you, you're pretty flexible in what kind of installation you use. It is easy to configure because we are providing a wizard when you want to set up the zip, respectively phone lines. We are supporting auto provisioning of supported desktop phones. As I said, you just plug it in and the configuration of the phone starts automatically. You have numerous business functionalities like call queues, ringing groups, conference rooms. So call queues, for example, means when somebody is calling you, you can establish and configure something like if you press 1, you will be connected to our sales department. If you press 2, you will be connected to our support department. This all is possible with Carrier Operator at no extra cost. And the most important thing, it is easy to expand and update because it's just software. Even if you have the hardware box, also there is only in quotation marks our Carrier Operator software running on, and it can easily be expanded or updated. I told you that in the old days when the internet line was broken, you also were not able to do any phone calls. This is basically here the first topic. So this could be maybe a problem nowadays too, but with Carrier Operator you're pretty flexible. You can set up some fallback or some rules, for example, that your sales department should always use some other lines. So you can also use ISDN with an external box, or when you have our big box, you can have an internal ISDN card. This is available not only for the pre, it's also available for BRE, which is the Euro ISDN2. And even if you would like to be safe from any cabled connection, you can plug in a GSM box, so you can establish, or your calls can be rerouted through this GSM box. So you just plug in a SIM card like from Vodafone or from whoever, and you can establish calls via a carrier operator via an attached GSM box. So again, and most important, no more console crawling. This is how it looked in the past, and this is how it should and how it looks today. So this you see here a snapshot of the administration interface of Carrier Operator, and you maybe recognize it. You need to look a little bit closer, that you are not thinking, oh, it's Carrier Connect. No, this is Carrier Operator. This is also something we put pretty much attention on, that things are simple. So when you are able to configure a Carrier Connect or a Carrier Control, you will definitely be pretty quick in understanding, and it would be that easy to configure a Carrier Operator, because it looks pretty much the same like the administration interfaces from the other two products. Okay, there are specific options which you do not find in Control and Connect, of course, because, for example, with Connect, you do not configure any zip lines. Out of the box security, this is the safe and the secure part in our products. We have an integrated firewall. You can be pretty granular who has access to do phone calls. We have safe zip passwords, and we have also some automatic reaction if the operator box detects some suspicious behavior. You have the worldwide connectivity, so you have one number with multiple registrations. So in my case, for example, I have a desktop phone, I have a software client on my laptop, and I also have on my iOS device I have a zip client. All those three products can establish a connection to our Carrier Operator box. So it doesn't matter where I am. You just call my number, and one of my devices will definitely ring. So they all act as one number, as one group. In Operator 2.4, we introduced video calls. At the moment, you can do only internal video calls, but we are going to expand this also for doing external video calls. But please don't nail me down when this will be. It's on our list, it's in our plans, but this can maybe take a while. But for example, for internal video calls, like when I would like to do a video call with my colleague, let's say Anton in Russia, and we both have a video desktop phone, or we have a voice over IP client on our laptops, which is also capable of doing video calls. We can just do a video call via our Carrier Operator box. So to give you a summary, you can likely your existing data networks already supports voice over IP. Maybe you should investigate if maybe a switch should be changed with a switch which is manageable, so you can prioritize voice over IP or the zip protocol in your network. But this is a pretty small step. It gives you independence from legacy phone lines. You're pretty flexible in connectivity. So for example, if you would like to move your office to some other house or some other office, you just need an internet connection, you plug in your Carrier Operator, and you're back in business. You have the business functionalities, as I said, like call groups, ringing groups, multiple registrations at no extra costs. And the most important thing, your IT admin who is already administering your Carrier Connect or your Carrier Control can also administer your Carrier Operator. Resources to dig a little bit deeper in this topic would be, I could recommend definitely the Voice over IP article on Wikipedia. We have a bandwidth calculator where you can calculate what kind of bandwidth, what kind of internet connection do you need if you would like to have a specific amount of concurrent calls. Of course, we have our knowledge base. We have a very viral forum about the Carrier Operator, and the pingtest.net is a page where you can test how good is your internet connection. Or I also would like to encourage to try it yourself. We have a 30-day full functioning free trial. You can download it at www.kerio.com. If you would like to see a preview of the admin or the client interface, you can go to demo.kerio.com. There you can see the administration interface and the client interface. As client interface means we have a Carrier Operator client interface where you can set where an individual user can set, for example, a call forwarding when he's out of office, or he wants to forward it to his mobile. You can define some short dial buttons, so you just need to click on a button and your phone will call the number, and much more.